welcome guys to the round 3 preview of the Game Day Squad footy show. I'm your host Cal, and today I've got Tom with me. How you going, Tom?
Oh mate, feeling a bit under the weather this morning. Didn't wake up so hot, but yeah mate, we'll push through. We'll get through this podcast. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's good to have you powering through. Kerm, as you can see, is not here. He is actually doing not well, so we send our love to him up there in Cairns. He's a bit sicker than you are, but we hope he gets better soon. We have got our round 3 preview, Tom. I'm enjoying doing this. We've had a couple of good weeks of footy. I'm keen to have a look at this week. Keen to sort of take my AFL hat on and actually put on the fantasy hat, because the AFL hasn't been doing too well for me with Port Adelaide. So the less I can sort of think about actual footy and just think about fantasy, the better for me.
Yeah, mate, you're right. And that's what we're here for. We're a fantasy platform. We're going to break it down and get into it. Yeah, we've had some huge rises and some big fallers as well this year. It's been quite an interesting season so far.
And that you said we are here because of Game Day Squad. So if you are joining us for the first time, Game Day Squad is a brand new fantasy platform built using blockchain technology, and we've got a game for Aussie rules. So if you are here for the first time, head over. Our link's in the description. Go check it out. Go start building your team and go get Game Day ready, because our season starts in just a couple of weeks' time. So we can't wait to change fantasy sport here in Australia. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a crack at giving Kerm's weekly news. So we're recording this Thursday about midday. So the team lists haven't come out. So we're going to give you some potentially ins and outs at the moment as it's looking at the moment. So Kerm normally does this better than me, Tom, but I'll have a go trying to go through the list.
Have a crack. Try to fill in his shoes, hey?
Yeah, so Rory Laird for the Crows looking like he might play his first game for the season. So that'll be a massive in for them if he comes in. Robbo looks like he'll be coming straight back into the Lions team after his 1 week suspension for his hit on Xavier Dersma. Chera and Martin are some big ins for the Blues, a team that's absolutely cooking. So keep an eye on them. Massive out for the Dons, of course. Merritt looking like he's going to be out now for a couple of months now with that ankle injury. Sean Darcy, Kerm's favourite ruckman, hurt himself in that Freo loss on Sunday. He's looked like in doubt for this week.
Unlucky.
Weller, though, comes back into that back line, and the Suns need a bit of run there, so he could be a player or one to watch. A forward that we've spoken a lot about, Wingard. He's on the fence. I'm very, very keen to see if he makes the team tonight, because he was subbed out in the win against the Power. He's a massive forward when they're up and about, so a lot of fantasy coaches will be watching that. Don't get me started on West Coast. We don't know what's happening there. COVID, again, they put out a WAFL team on the weekend. Very keen to see what they do. And finally, we love Bailey Smith on this show, and he looks like he'll come back into the Dogs team tonight against your Swannies, I believe. Oh, sorry, tonight, against the Swannies from a hip injury. So it'd be great to see him up and about for that. So
another great Thursday night game, and we're super excited. We saw how we went in round 1. See if he can back it up again tonight, because if he can, then wow, it's going to be something special.
Will be a good game, and I love Thursday night footy. So yeah, we'll have this on out for Thursday night. Sometimes we're having it when the games are live, but we've done it during the day today, so you can get yourself ready for that. But that's the weekly news. But we've got something exciting this week. We did say it was coming for a while, but our platform's finally launched. Tom, what do we have?
We have the pack of the week, and as you guys can see here in front of you, we asked you guys to send in your packs, send in your pools, and that we were going to pick what we thought was the best pack for this week, for Aussie rules, of course. And the winner has gone to Vinny XBL, so congratulations. You can see there the reason we gave him pack of the week is he has the almighty legend 1-of-1 card, that red outline, as you can see. What a great pack. Also some great depth in there as well. He's got a diamond card. Just a great pack all around. The winner of this, Vinny, you're going to get 3x3 player common packs. Yeah, hopefully you can get another good pull. Who knows? You might be able to back it up again next week with those.
Yeah, and that's only our second legend card go out for our Aussie Rules game. So he actually had that on a recording, so check him out if you want to have a look at his live reaction to it. I know he was pretty excited for that. Obviously a bit of depth there. Isaac Smith, Heppel and Rosie, some players you can get up and about for. So not a bad pack. But
wait, can you get up and about for Heppel?
No, not this year. Maybe we'll see.
Maybe
watch this space. But that's this week. So you're looking for something good. What's your criteria for pack of the week next week? Have you given much thought to it yet? I'll put you on the spot.
You've put me on the spot here, but I think we go with. We'll look at some defenders.
Ooh.
I think we go positional with this one. I want the best defenders inside of a pack. Hopefully, maybe someone can pull a couple good defenders, top 5 fantasy defenders, that is. And Yeah, we'll see how it goes, but we'll give the winner for the best defenders inside of one pack for next week. Send them all in to us at Game Day Squad, our Instagram, all of our socials in the description. So, of course, check that out, send it through, and then, we'll pick a winner and some more free packs will be flying out next week.
Absolutely. Love it. Wasn't expecting defenders, but there we go. There's your criteria. Head over to our Discord as well. Again, in the description, a lot of people jumping on, sharing their packs. It's really cool to see what people get. We're obviously massive fans of the game, so we are sitting there, and I'm getting very jealous of some of the pulls because we also did a video the other day, Tom, that came out, and it was our pack opening, and my luck wasn't very good. It was quite a mellow sort of video. We didn't get the outcome we wanted, but hey, I think you were saying that you want to have another dig at it a bit later, so we'll see how we go with yours.
Yeah, mate, I need round 2 with this pack opening. I feel like I got stitched up in these opening packs, and we'll see what we can do. Hopefully we can pull something a little bit better than last time, because it was quite disappointing. You are right.
Alrighty, Tom, big round of footy coming up, and we have some big questions to kick off the round. So what is your question of round 3 that you want to ask?
Yeah, mate, and I've gone to your team here, the Port Power, and I sort of singled them out last week. But as you mentioned, last game they lost, but they had such good fantasy contribution all around the ground and especially in the midfield. They weren't able to hit the scoreboard and kick as many goals to stay in the game. So my question of the round is, Zach Butters seems to be a gem. He's just come out of nowhere. Hasn't really been that great. Hasn't really cracked the triple-digit GDS fantasy average per game ever in his career. As of right now, he's currently tracking at about 130 GDS points per game. My question is this sustainable? And is this going to be the year where he cracks the 3-digit, the magic number?
There you go. I am a massive fan of Zach Butters. I don't like what's happening around the Power, but he is the sort of shining light in that team for me.
Oh, yeah.
Him and Alia. That's a great question because I know someone like Kerm was very high on him at the start of the year, even from an outsider perspective. So, big game with the showdown. Very keen to see.
And I'll tell you my thoughts. I think yes. Watching it, he's passing the eye test. He's doing a really good job. I think he's a legitimate 3-digit fantasy average scorer this year. There's no reason he can't be.
Yeah, I agree.
But what's your question? Yeah, go for it, man.
My question. Are the midfielders the easiest position to pick for in 2022? And the reason I ask that is because all the big names from 2021 are performing, and even the year before that, right? These are some names in the top 10 fantasy midfielders right now. So I've gone through, we've done the calculations. We've got Brayshaw, Petrarca, Boak, Neal, Keys, Mills, Cripps. All the big names are there. Everyone's firing, and it's just made it super easy for the first couple of rounds. My defenders are changing in and out. My forwards are changing in and out. Even the ruck position, it's a bit of all over the place. But I'm kind of banking on my midfield team that I have. I know who I want, and they're all performing. So, very keen to see if midfielders, is this going to continue, and if they're going to continue to be the easiest sort of, or least headache, I should say, because it's never easy in fantasy, but the least headache's always good.
Yeah, that's a great question, and you're right. So many big names there, and people who we expected to be at the top in terms of fantasy average. But the Jack Steele isn't there. That's a little bit out of the ordinary. But other than him, really, it feels like all the people that should be in the top are at the top. So you're right. That's a great question as well.
He was the big notable absentee from that list. But what we're going to do now, we're going to go into our rolling dream team. So again, what we look at here, this is kind of, we don't have our teams out yet for Game Day Squad. We will be releasing them very shortly when our season kicks off in a couple of weeks. But this is our dream team. So if we could build a team today, how would we want it to look? Now, I've taken the approach of this would be my dynasty team because that's what we are at Game Day Squad. We're a dynasty game. So my team's a little bit younger, a bit more eye in the future, whereas your team is win now and Kerms is somewhere in between. And I think we'll start with Kerms because he's not here, but he has sent through who he actually made the changes for his team. So he has taken Dusty Martin out of his forward line. Wingard's been pushed to the bench, and Isaac Heaney's made it onto the team, which I'm all for. I think Heaney, we'll get to him a bit later. But great call, and obviously with the stuff happening with Dusty. And then in the midfield, he's had Merritt out, and then Steele's gone to the Pine, and then Andy Brayshaw's come in. So, I'm surprised he didn't have Brayshaw in there because he loved him. But they're his changes for the week. What do you think about that?
Yeah, putting Isaac Heaney into the forward line right now for me is an absolute no-brainer. With the time he's getting in the midfield, his fantasy numbers are just amazing at the moment. And if you compare him to other forwards in the league, he is just killing it. Kicked 5 goals last game. Kicked 3 in round 1, I'm pretty sure. And who knows what he's going to kick tonight against the Doggies. I'm hoping it's somewhere near that.
Yeah, absolutely. Heaney is a star.
And the
But
last
let's
point is Brayshaw. Absolute, that's a must-have in my eyes. And you're probably going to see when I get to my rolling dream team that I've
go for
taken
it. Go
quite a
for it,
similar
Rooster.
approach.
I'll bring yours up now. Tell us what you've done.
Yep, so I've kicked out Jack Lukosius and Dyson Heppel, two people that we've actually been bringing up over the past couple of shows. We've mentioned that they're having, especially Dyson Heppel's, quite a bit of a decline in fantasy production this year. And Jack Lukosius, I was bullish on because of the opportunity, but it just hasn't worked out the way I saw it working out. So my ins are Andrew Brayshaw, straight into the midfield starting, and then Jake Lloyd, another Swanee, putting him into the back line. Had a fantastic round two. Didn't get to play in round one, and hoping again he's the sort of player that's going to back it up. He really does seem like a cornerstone player in our defence, and he gets used so much with the ball. A lot of kicks, great fantasy production. So yeah, they're my two changes, and they've both been put straight into the starting team rather than sitting on the bench.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Nice changes. They're good. With mine, I have taken a similar approach. I've gone Lukosius out. So I've brought in Dan Houston. He's gone straight onto the team. And Lockie
He's looking
Whitfield's,
good.
yeah,
Dan
he's looking
Houston.
very good.
Oh yeah.
And Lockie Whitfield's dropped down to the bench for me. Again, I'll get to him in a second. But Houston had a shocker and he still got 85 points. And at 24, he's not only a player that's dominant now. His first game was insane against the Lions. So that has his average the highest defender in the comp. But I don't think his average is that, but I still think he's very good. And then I just think the rise of Darcy Byrne-Jones on the other flank has kind of freed him up to... Everyone puts the attention on him and now he's benefiting from that. And on the other side on my forward line, like I've said, midfield set and forget at the moment. They're all doing beautifully for me at the moment. Maybe except that Steele there, I'm going to start looking at with a funny eye. But
Yep.
Isaac Heaney's come straight into my team, and he's come in for Connor Rosie. So Wingard to the bench, Rosie out, and Heaney in. Heaney's a stud, third highest average for a forward right now. He's only 25. He's coming into the prime of his career. If you don't have Isaac Heaney in your dream team, in your game day squad team, go get him because he makes that part of my dream team.
Yeah, as you mentioned, dynasty game. And, the most disappointing thing about it is that you guys didn't have him in round one. I've had him since round one. I told you guys that Isaac Heaney was going to be that guy this year, and he has just delivered.
Problem with Heaney is for the 3 years that we've been hearing that he's going to be that guy, and like the potential's always been there. Like he's a talent, but he's never really translated to the fantasy team. So I'd always have him in my footy team, never in my fantasy team. Whereas this year I've finally gone, no, get him in.
It's in both now. He's earned the respect for both. Also to hear.
Alrighty, Tom. It might be moving away from summer, but it is still nice and warm for some people on the seat that they're sitting on. And we've got hot seat, round 3. Who do you have sitting on that seat for this week?
Yeah, mate. This guy has some of the hottest cheeks in the league, as we like to refer. Sitting straight down in his hot seat, it's Tom Stewart. He's on fraud watch at the moment, and I know that you mentioned it the other week while we were watching the Geelong game. We were sending messages back and forth, and it's like, where has he gone? Someone send out a missing persons report for Tom Stewart because he just could not find the footy. His fantasy production just hasn't been to the level that we've come to expect from him. He's not putting up significant numbers. The first 2 weeks have been a tragedy, and honestly, for his standard at least, that's quite a high standard, let's be honest. A top 5 fantasy defender last year. He's just one of those players that has fallen off, similar to Dyson Heppel, who we mentioned before. But sort of what I'm asking here is this the year of the beginning of the end for Tom Stewart's fantasy production? Or do you think he's going to find his groove as the season progresses and come back into that topper end of fantasy defenders?
It's a great question because they're two very different games that the Cats have played so far. A game in round 1 where they didn't need him because Eston never had the ball near him. And then round 2 where it was wet and it was just a weird sort of game. So poor Tom Stewart, he's ended up as a dud twice on our review shows. And and now here on the hot seat being called out. So I do really like him. But yeah, we're not showing him the love here at the moment. And that's because he's just not performing to, like you said, the high level that we want him to.
It's just the expectation versus reality currently. It's just not to the level. And if you spent premium on Tom Stewart trying to get him into your lineup, similar to me in my best 18 on the first show, I had him in there thinking he's going to be a fantasy stud. Just hasn't been the case. Yes, there is time for him to turn it around, but you wouldn't be very happy if you're a fantasy manager right now that owned Tom Stewart.
Yeah, and I don't think you're going to be happy with my next one because I know you love this guy. I called him out. He has dropped onto my bench.
Put it on the screen, mate. Show me.
Lockie Whitfield.
Yep, here he is.
So this guy was an 8th overall defender for our year last year, with averaged 113 GDS points. He's turning 27 this year, so you're kind of thinking, right, he's at the peak of his powers, or he's still even potentially even growing into it. But his 88-point average over the last couple of weeks has him in the 30s, and the third highest scoring defender for the Giants. So he's not even the number one. He's behind Cumming and one of the other guys there as well. But looking at his stats, he's down on kicks, tackles, goals, marks, and I just don't know where he's gone. He's just vanished off the face of the earth, unfortunately. But yeah, I think that face that you can see there on the screen sort of sums it up. We just don't know what to make of him at the moment. And yeah, premier defender, and he's just disappeared. So on the hot seat, he will disappear from my team if he continues to disappear on the field.
Yeah, and look, both players are they're guns. And let's be honest with you, amazing players, and there's no club right now that wouldn't take any of these two players and put them into their back line. But of course, guys, we have our fantasy caps on here, and we're not too worried about how they play. It's more about their fantasy production. So I've put my cap on, and we're being quite strict with them. But it's not time to panic. It's only, round 3 is approaching. There's definitely time for them to turn it around. But I'm glad that we brought up these two great defenders because, yeah, there's some serious chance here that they are going to fall off this year and maybe never recover.
And we're going to move into my stat of the week because talking about maybe overreacting to some bad performances, what about the overreaction to some good ones? And I think it's deserved.
Oh, yes.
And my stat of the week involves my early preseason Brownlow pick, Patrick Cripps. Got a stat for you here. Patrick Cripps has scored 125 plus GDS points in both games this season. That's the same amount of 125 plus games as he had in the last 2 years combined.
Now that is a stat. Wow, that is just crazy to think about. That the complete turnaround, not only of him and his fantasy production, but just the club in general. They really seem like they've got everything all firing on like all cylinders right now. Everyone's playing great for the team. Looks really good. They're a scary team. When you watch them and you watch them play, you're like, wow, they can move the ball and they finish a lot of great opportunities.
Fun team to get around at the moment. I think everyone's enjoying the Carlton train, maybe except a few Collingwood fans. But it's good, and it's good to see him back to the 2019 form that won him that MVP. So,
yes.
We are going to move on to lock of the round. Now, for you, lucky for you and me, Kerm isn't here, because Kerm's the only one that actually got a W last week. So he had Paddy Walsh to get over the line with 101 points, and as you can see there at the bottom, he has earned the 101 points that he got for doing that. But you and me, we both missed out. I had Stuart to bounce back, and he only got me 91 points after I locked him in for 100, so that was disappointing. Who missed out for you?
Jordan De Goey, and got similar, quite 101, 103 fantasy points. Had him for 115. Was expecting a little bit of a bigger gain, but it's just unfortunate. It's unlucky, but here we go. Round 3, reload, and let's go again.
Yeah, and a quick recap for how we do this. So we lock in a player, and if they score that or higher, we get those points. So for example, I'm going to give you my first one that you can see there. I've gone with Tim Taranto. He's going to bounce back and get 110 points. So if he gets that or more, that gets added to my score. But if he gets 109, then it counts as a 0 and I miss out, just like myself and Tom did this week. But for me, he's played the Swans and Richmond in back-to-back games, and he's played quite well.
Yeah.
I just think against this week, he's going to just take that step up and really, really go 110. I think a big win. I think the Giants are going to have a big bounce back after a pretty awful sort of display against Richmond. So he is my lock of the week. And the other thing is we can't use the same player twice. Otherwise, I'd be locking in Paddy Cripps for another 125. But I've already used him once for the season. Got my 125 points that you can see there, and I've had to move on. But who'd you roll with this week?
Mate, I've been talking about this guy all the time, just how good he's been. I put him into my best 18, so I thought I'd show him some respect and have him as my lock of the round. It's Andrew Brayshaw. He's been on an absolute roll and a tear right now. I'm locking him in for 115 game day squad fantasy points. Trying to bring that margin a little bit closer to you. You've got me by 20 points right now. If we both hit this week, I'll gain an extra 5 points on that margin, but still, you'll be ahead. So I need to start making some money moves, and this is the first one.
Yeah, I like it. And we do really like Brayshaw. But you only have to watch our review show from last round to see how much we liked him. Kerm's got his one there as well, so he still wanted to get involved. He's got Carl Amon to jump back and get 108 GDS points. Mr. Reliable back there, he's been playing really, really well, and obviously Kerm's now got some points on the board. He's taken a different strategy. I don't know. I don't like having these 108s and 101s. I like knowing these sort of round numbers that we can aim for. But yeah, that's what Kerm's going for. So very keen to see how we go with our locks this week. So I think that'll wrap us up here for another episode of our review show. So again, like we've said, if you are joining for the first time, make sure you go check out Game Day Squad. We keep updating everything we're doing on the platform. There'll be lots more rolling through, as like we said, we start our season in just a couple of weeks' time. So make sure you are building out your squad for that. We have started a referral bonus. So if you're loving what you're seeing at GDS and you want to get your friends involved, check that out. There's a thing you can follow along, get yourself a few extra packs if you guys follow to a few things there. And what about with all the YouTube stuff, Tom? What do we need people to do?
Yep, I'll get into that. But firstly, guys, remember, pack of the week next week is your best defenders that you can pull all in one pack. All of our socials are down below. Check it out and submit your entries for a chance to win some free packs and get a shout out on the show. But other than that, if you've made it this far, thanks very much for watching. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, push the post notifications on so you get a notification when we're doing our previews and reviews every round, AFL, NRL, so much fantasy content for you guys to suck up and absorb because, as Callum said, a couple weeks away from the fantasy season starting and we've got some cool stuff lined up for you guys. But yeah, I reckon we'll leave it at that.